Good morning, students. In our last class, we were studied about some important properties of lithium and the similarity of lithium with magnesium and difference of lithium or the property which has a different property with the other alkali metal. About these all things we were studied. Again, we started about your second group element, that is nothing but which is also known as alkaline earth metal, isn't it? Alkaline earth metal, that is already studied. Alkaline earth metal, why we call it as a alkaline earth metal, student? Why we call it as alkaline earth metal? Because its oxides and hydroxides are basic in nature. That means alkaline in nature, alkaline in nature, or else you can consider it as a basic. Consider it as a basic. First one. So that is answer for alkaline. And why those are known as earth metal? Because metal oxides of these groups are available or found in or exist in earth crust. Earth crust. So that's why we call it as alkaline earth metal. Is it clear? So beryllium is not considered as alkaline earth metal because it has a amphoteric nature. Clear? It has a amphoteric, that means it can act acid as well as base. Okay, it is amphoteric in nature. This all we studied already, isn't it? So further we studied about some general property. Here I'll write second group element. What are the second group element? Beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium. Beta mange car scooter. Bap is nothing but here barium, and last one is radium. Clear? So these all are nothing but second group elements. In that, these are nothing but alkaline earth metals. Is it clear? Is it clear? So next one, we studied about general properties. General properties, isn't it? General properties of alkali metal. General properties of alkali metal. In that case, first one, we already studied about electronic configuration. Electronic configuration. See, student, in a first group we studied in a detail, isn't it? So that's why in a second group we'll just uh, list out what are the characteristics. Okay. Huh? So first one, electronic configuration. What about its electronic configuration, students? See, so this is a second group element, isn't it? And we know for S block element, electronic configuration, general electronic configuration is NS1 to 2, isn't it? In that for first group electronic configuration is ns1. What about second group, student? It is noble gas. You have to write it as noble gas with ns2 molecule, 2 electron. Clear? So this is nothing but electronic configuration of second group element. Okay, is it clear? So next, see, so it has only 2 electron in outermost shell. It has a 2 electron in a valence shell. It has 2 electron in a valence shell. Sorry, valence shell. Valence shell. See, if in case I'll consider magnesium, Mg, if in case I'll consider magnesium, its atomic number is 12, isn't it? Its atomic number is 12. When I write its electronic configuration, see student, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, and then it comes 3s2, isn't it? 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2. See, again, there is a stable octet configuration, isn't it? So this is nothing but octet configuration. So that's why we can remove these 2 electrons easily. See, for first electron, ionization enthalpy is E1. For second electron, ionization enthalpy is E2. Where E2 is always greater than E1. That means removal of second electron is always difficult than that of first one. Is it clear, student? Because see, whenever you remove one electron, and the removal of another electron, in that case, effective nuclear charge increases. So suddenly removal of electron is more difficult. So that's why second ionization enthalpy is more than that of first ionization enthalpy. You have to remember that point. Is it clear, student? Is it clear? So these are basic things. And this one is first General property of alkali metal. So now we'll study about second general property of alkali metal. So that is nothing but about atomic radii and ionic radii. See, second one is about atomic and ionic radii. Atomic and ionic radii. Atomic and ionic radii. Is it clear, students? So we already studied, isn't it? What is atomic radii and what is ionic radii? So whenever we count or we consider atomic and ionic radii, we calculate the distance between nucleus and outermost electron, isn't it? We calculate the distance between electron and nucleus and outermost electron. That is your atomic or ionic radii. See, whenever I'll consider in a periodic table, atomic size increases or decreases along a period, and atomic size increases down the group, isn't it? So atomic size decreases from left to right. That is from first group to 18th group. It decreases because extra electrons were added to a same shell, and effective nuclear charge increases. So that's why atomic size decreases. But down the group, extra shells were added. So that means the size of the atom is increasing. So now, whenever we compare alkali metal, whenever we consider alkali metal with alkaline earth metal, which one has long atomic radii? Which one has a long atomic radii, or which one is smaller? Yes. Here see, atomic radii or ionic radii of alkaline earth metal is always smaller than that of alkali metal, because its size is small size due to small size of alkaline earth metal and increase in effective nuclear charge. So that's why alkali metal has long atomic radii than alkaline earth metal. Is it clear? Second one, so this one is first one. Second one, what about down the group? Down the group, atomic radii and ionic radii increases or decreases down the group. See, so down the group, what happens, student? Down the group, see, very important it is. Down the group, atomic size increases because of addition of extra shells. So that's why down the group, atomic radii and ionic radii also increases for alkaline earth metal. Is it clear? Down the group increases alkaline earth metal. Clear? So atomic radii and ionic radii increases down the group. For alkaline earth metal. Is it clear? So that is already studied, isn't it? So now I'll go for third property or third important property, that is ionization enthalpy. Ionization enthalpy. See, student, we already discussed about this one, isn't it? If the size is small, atomic size is small, if in case you are considering atomic size small, in that case, ionization enthalpy is very high, isn't it? If size is big, in that case, ionization enthalpy is low. So that means if size is small, removal of electron is very difficult. Clear? Because of effective nuclear charge. Okay. If size is large size atom is there, in that case, removal of electron is more easy. Why? Due to increase in distance. It is due to decrease in distance, isn't it? So whenever there is a decreased density, then that means size decreases, effective nuclear charge increases. If effective nuclear charge increases, the bond between nucleus and electron is very strong, or the attraction force between nucleus and electron is very strong. In that case, removal of electron is very difficult. So that's why we need more amount of energy, isn't it? So that's why ionization enthalpy is high. Is it clear? If you are considering large size ion, if in case you are considering large size atom or ion, in that case, the intermolecular distance or interdistance or attraction between nucleus and electron decreases due to large distance, isn't it? In that case, removal of electron is very easy because it is loosely bonded. So that's why I can easily remove that, isn't it? So that's why ionization enthalpy of alkaline earth metal is very low when we compare it with alkali metal. Alkali metal. Reason for this one is again same, due to small size. Sorry. Alkaline earth metal is very high than alkali metal due to small size. Due to small size. For small size, it needs high energy, isn't it? Due to its small size. Is it clear? So next one, down the group. What happens when we consider down the group? So see, down the group size increases. Down the group atomic size increases. So that means attraction decreases. Nuclear attraction or attraction decreases, and removal of electron is more easy. So that's why ionization enthalpy decreases down the group, decreases down the group. Is it clear, student? Is it clear? So ionization enthalpy, where alkaline earth metal have more than alkali metal. Ionization enthalpy for alkaline earth metal is more than alkali metal because of small size. Because as you move from left to right, from first group to 18th group, atomic size decreases. If the size decreases, means effective nuclear charge increases. So that means electron is more tightly bonded to nucleus. So that's why removal of electron is very difficult. So that's why it has a less ionization enthalpy in case of alkali metal. So down the group, what happens? Size increases, attraction decreases, ionization enthalpy also decreases. Is it clear? Is it clear about third point, student? So next one is about fourth point. Fourth point. See, student, fourth point. So that is again same thing, that is hydration enthalpy. Hydration enthalpy. We already studied, isn't it? What is hydration enthalpy, student? What do you mean by hydration enthalpy? In first group, we already studied. Hydration enthalpy is nothing but it is amount of energy released. It is amount of energy released when one mole of substance, or I consider it as ion, 1 mole of ion is hydrated, which undergo hydration. That is known as your hydration enthalpy. Amount of energy released. Amount of energy released when one mole of ion undergo hydration is known as hydration enthalpy. Clear? So whenever you immerse any ion into water, or whenever it undergo hydration, it releases some amount of energy, and that is nothing but your hydration enthalpy. Is it clear? Is it clear? In alkali metal, we already studied hydration enthalpy decreases down the group, isn't it? Due to increase in size of metal ion. Clear? Like that here also. See, hydration enthalpy. I already explained this. Clear? Hydration enthalpy decreases down the group. Due to increase in ionic size. Isn't it, student? So therefore, beryllium ion, see, we are considering beryllium ion, so that's why it is 2 plus, is more hydrate, it has a more hydration enthalpy than magnesium ion, Mg2 plus, which has again more hydration than calcium ion, which has more than strontium. Last one is about barium. See, we are not using radium because it is radioactive element. Is it clear, student? So you have to consider ion. In case of alkali metal, we write in the form of lithium, sodium, potassium. Okay, in this way. Clear? Because it is monovalent and this are divalent. Is it clear? So these are general properties of alkaline earth metal. So next one will consider some physical property, student. Next one will consider some physical property of alkali metal. We just consider physical properties of alkali metal. Sorry, alkaline earth metal. It is alkaline earth metal. Clear? In that first one, see, we are talking about physical property. What are the physical properties? See, melting point, boiling point, appearance, hardness, and reaction with air. These common things were in a physical property, which we already studied for alkali metal. Okay. Now about alkaline earth metal. See, student, physical property of alkaline earth metal. First one, we talk about its property, physical property, appearance, isn't it? So here, generally, all alkaline earth metal is almost silvery white, just like your alkali metal. So these are silvery white. These are silvery white, clear, and relatively soft. But harder than the alkali metal. See, student, here it is also soft metal. See, I'll write here. So these are soft metal. But the thing here is, these are harder than alkali metal. Very important. It is harder than alkali metal. So this is also soft metal, but when we compare it with alkali metal, it has a more hardness, okay, but harder than alkali metals. And next one, second one, see, beryllium and magnesium is almost a grayish in color. So you can see magnesium in the laboratory, okay, so it is almost grayish in color, gray color. Okay, it is almost gray, but it looks like silver white itself, but it is lightly gray color. Okay, so that is the difference. Okay, or else we consider it as a silver white itself. And the third one about its melting and boiling. See, student, it has a high melting point and boiling point when we compare it with alkali metal, because it is harder than alkali metal, isn't it? So that's why melting point and boiling point is higher than alkali metal. Actually, it has a low melting point and boiling point because those are soft metal, isn't it? But when we compare it with alkali metal, it has a higher melting point and boiling point. Which one? Alkaline earth metal. So fourth point. So here again about electropositive nature. We are talking about electropositive nature. See, I already mentioned alkali metals are electropositive, isn't it? Electropositive, and these are monovalent. But alkaline earth metals were also electropositive. These are also electropositive, but the thing here is divalent. So those are divalent. Clear? So again, these are electropositive. These are also electropositive. So these are also electropositive because of less or low ionization enthalpy, due to low ionization enthalpy. Clear? Fifth one, very important one. Yeah, very important one. That is about flame color. Okay, student, that is about flame color. See, in alkali metal, we already studied that lithium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, all these things were gives a color to oxidizing flame. Isn't it, student? We studied about that. Because of that odd electrons, isn't it? That electrons will absorb energy and it will re-emit. So here, see, calcium, strontium and barium, only these three can give a flame color. It can give a flame test, or it can answer flame test. Clear? Only these three. Huh? So here, yeah, see. So here, see, calcium and strontium and barium. So what about color? So I'll just write here itself. See, calcium, whenever we consider calcium, it gives brick red. It gives brick red color. So that is very important. It gives brick red color. So somewhat red itself. Then see, there is a difference. This is also strontium also red and calcium is also red, but somewhat different. See, strontium is crimson red. Crimson red. So almost light red. And brick red is almost dark, common red. Okay. And the last beryllium is apple green. So this one is apple green. Clear? So these all things were in your salt analysis, okay? Strontium, barium and calcium. You can see these colors. You can see this color. Again, reason for this one, in a flame test, what happens? Electron in a ground state will excited to higher energy level by absorbing some amount of energy, isn't it? And being unstable, it will return back to its ground state. While returning, it will emit some amount of, yeah. Clear? So is this clear? And the question may arise, why beryllium and magnesium do not give or do not form any flame color? Why beryllium and magnesium are not forming any or do not impart any color to the oxidizing flame? Question may be asked. See, beryllium and magnesium are small size, isn't it? Those are a small size. So that's why electrons were strongly bound to a nucleus or that atom. So that's why it need more amount of energy to excite those electrons, but it is not possible. Clear? So that's why we can write the electron, because the electrons are strongly bound, are are too strongly bound. So that's why it will not impart any color to flame. Remember this point, student. Beryllium and magnesium is not giving any color. But in case of alkali metal, almost all the elements, alkali metals can form a flame color. Is it clear? Is it clear? Is it clear? First one, it has a silvery white, soft metal, but when we compare it with alkali metal, it has a hardness. Second one, but beryllium and magnesium, almost it looks like a grayish. Then melting point and boiling point is very low, but when we compare it to alkali metal, it has a higher than alkali metal. So next one, these are electropositive in nature. Fifth one, here, so these metal, calcium, strontium and barium can impart a flame color when it introduced to oxidizing flame. So but beryllium and magnesium do not, because the electrons in a beryllium and magnesium are too strongly bonded. So that's why it will never undergo flame test, or it will never answer flame test. Is it clear? Is it clear, student? So in that case, we'll move to next important thing. So that is nothing but chemical property. So next one is about chemical property. Chemical properties of alkaline earth metal. Chemical properties of alkaline earth metal. See, student, first one is reactivity towards air and oxygen, sorry, or else we consider it as air and water, okay? Towards air and water. See, student, in this case, we are studying reactivity of alkali metal with air and water. So now you have to remember one thing, student. So whenever you are considering alkali metal, for example, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, it readily reacts with oxygen or moisture and it will form metal hydroxide, isn't it? But whenever we consider alkaline earth metal, there is some exceptions. So like beryllium and magnesium. See, whenever we consider beryllium and magnesium, see, we consider it as a kinetically inert. Kinetically inert. See, student, why we use kinetically inert form? See, if in case I'll consider any magnesium rod or beryllium rod, okay, whatever it is, I'll consider magnesium rod because it is convenient, okay. So whenever we consider magnesium, see, there is no different color marker, okay. Okay, I'll just explain like that. Whenever we introduce oxygen or water, whatever it is, okay, whenever we introduce or we place this rod in terms of presence of air or water, what happens? See, so magnesium initially react, see, if in case I'll consider this rod as a magnesium, okay, this as a magnesium rod. So whenever it is introduced into a air or moistured air, what happens? See, it reacts, but the reactivity is very slow. That means once it reacts, it will slow down. So that means, see, upper level, almost surface molecule or surface elements or surface molecule reacts with oxygen, and it will readily form oxide layer. So if you know about corrosion, about rust, clear? In that case also, you are considering iron rod. Whenever iron rod reacts with oxygen, it will form a film of iron oxide, isn't it? It will form a film of iron oxide. If that film or that layer will removed, in that case, second layer also oxidizes. Clear? So that means it will act as a protecting layer. Initially, it will act as a protecting layer or protect. It will protect a second layer. First layer readily reacts with oxygen or air and it forms a oxide layer. It forms oxide layer. So now this film is coating for a second layer. This film is coating for a second layer. That means until this layer is over this second layer, until that point, it will never react. Second layer will never react with oxygen or air. So that's why we use kinetically inert. We use kinetically inert. See, whenever it forms a coating, it forms a coating. See, students, it forms a coating. In that case, the second layer is free. So that means it will never react with oxygen, because this layer is nothing but metal oxide layer. It will form layer. It form layer. So that maybe we consider as our protecting layer. It will protect second layer. It will protect second layer. Is it clear? So beryllium and magnesium are kinetically inert due to formation of metal metal oxide film or layer on the second. Okay, so that's why these are kinetically inert. Second point for this one, whenever we are considering beryllium, powder beryllium with air, whenever we consider powder beryllium with air, it readily reacts with air and it will form beryllium oxide. It will form just like lithium, okay, beryllium oxide, and also it forms beryllium nitride. Be3N2. I already mentioned how to write this composition. See, student, beryllium has a +2 oxidation state. Nitrogen has a -3 oxidation state. If you want to bind these two, you have to cross multiply. Clear? So that is nothing but Be tries N twice. Okay. So just like lithium also readily reacts with beryllium and oxygen. It forms lithium oxide and lithium nitride. Like that, beryllium also readily reacts with powder beryllium. You have to consider powdered beryllium. Powdered, because I already told, if in case you are considering solid state, it will form a film. It will form a film. That means it will never react. further. So that's why we have to consider powdered beryllium to enhance the reactivity. Okay, you have to consider powdered beryllium to enhance the activity. Is it clear? The next third point. So magnesium is more electropositive and burns with, again see, magnesium is also more electropositive, more electropositive. So that is understood, isn't it? Positive. It also burns with air. It also burns with air to form magnesium oxide and magnesium nitride. Magnesium oxide and magnesium nitride. Is it clear? And the last one is calcium, strontium, and magnesium also react with or air or oxygen vigorously. It reacts with vigorously with oxygen or air, and it forms oxides and nitrides. Is it clear? Is it clear about this all things? Reactivity towards air and water. So these are very important. Is it clear, student? And the next part we'll study, next one, that is something but second one. See, these are very much easier because whenever the question may ask for your general property or whatever it is, so it is mainly asked over first group element, because again second group has the same trend like first group. Clear? So that's why you have to finalize, or you have to consider it correctly. That means you have to stabilize your basics. Clear? So next one, reactivity towards, second one, reactivity towards halogen. Reactivity towards halogen. See, same just like alkali metal, all alkaline earth metal reacts with halogen and forms a halides and form halide. The general composition M into X2, M plus X2, where M is nothing but, that may be beryllium, magnesium, whatever it is, okay? And X may be fluorine, chlorine, bromine, whatever it is. It reacts, it will form MX2. See, M is with +2 oxidation state, X is with -1. You can cross multiply, it will give MX2. That is nothing but metal halide. So this is nothing but metal halide. Is it clear? Is it clear? So this is the second point, student, reactivity towards halogen. Clear? So next one will complete that. Then we'll end this session, okay? Reactivity towards dihydrogen. Dihydrogen. Reactivity towards dihydrogen. See, student, again all the elements except beryllium combines with hydrogen and forms hydrides. That is nothing but metal hydride MH2. Clear? So here, in case of beryllium, yeah, in case of beryllium, so it never react directly to form a beryllium hydride. See, I'll just write the reaction here. All the metals directly combine with hydrogen on heating. Clear? So that is nothing but M reacts with dihydrogen on heating. It readily gives metal hydride, MH2, metal hydride. But whenever it comes to beryllium with a smaller size, it has an exception, isn't it? So that's why whenever you need to prepare beryllium, so there is different methods. See, you have to consider beryllium chloride with a strong reducing agent, which we already studied, lithium aluminum hydride. This is a strong reducing agent. That means we use it for the hydration. Hydrogenation. So it will give beryllium chloride with lithium aluminum hydride. It will give, see student, it will give beryllium hydride, please AlCl3 and see lithium chloride. So these were product, B aluminum Cl3 and lithium chloride. So these were product, and this may be your. So it will form beryllium hydride, but it will never react with hydrogen and directly combines with it. Clear? Because of its small size. Because of its small size. Clear? Is it clear, students? Is it clear? So in that case, we'll end this session now. About other things, we'll study in our next class. Okay? Study well. Take care. Bye.